Bonjour! Today we're going to be talking about a really impressive animated movie that I was so in love with growing up that my best friend's mother introduced us to. It is called Balto. The main character, voiced by Kevin Bacon. I found that so fitting. This old woman and her granddaughter and her dog are in the park, and the grandmother starts telling her the story about this dog named Balto, who lived in Nome, Alaska, where their tradition was to have sled dogs as a means for transportation. We meet one of the main characters, a Malamute named Steel, who is one of the only ones that look like a normal Malamute, sort of. The other ones look like freaking plush toys. I don't know why they look like that. He's like a celebrity in the town, and he prides on being the fastest sled dog. Steel is the kind of person that doesn't really play fair, and everyone loves him, and he's a huge narcissist, but he's willing to get down dirty just to get ahead.
I'm not gonna make it!
For real though, I will admit that Steel, even though he seems like a one-dimensional villain, it kind of fits with his character being a dog, and he has a lot of villainy moments. So already we're dealing with a type of Gaston character, who I know a lot of people say reminds them of Scar from The Lion King, because let's be honest. We then meet the main character, Balto, and his friend Boris, a Russian goose. Balto is a wolf dog, and from his mother's ancestry, being part wolf, Balto is basically shunned by the other dogs, seen as more of a wild animal, because he's a wolf dog. Nowadays, a lot of people want to own wolf dogs as pets because it's the closest thing they can get to having a real wolf. The problem is that wolves are very different from dogs. Because they're wild, they're a lot more shy, but they are definitely not the kind of animals that you want to have around in a domestic area. There's so many differences when it comes to dogs and wolves, not just in their size, but their mannerisms. For example, most breeds of dog have an average bite force of 230 to 250 psi, while a wolf has around 400 psi, and it is believed they can go up to 1000 psi. I've heard stories of handlers, such as a guy who was doing the wrong body language in front of a male wolf, and the wolf bit into his arm and he heard his bone crack. Wolves are beautiful creatures, but they are bred to be wild. It can many times be very deadly. Wolf dogs tend to lean more towards their wild side and genes, with being much larger, much stronger, and much more wayward and harder to handle. If you've ever had a wild animal inside your house, like a fox, you'll look at us from the outside and be like, oh, they're so cute, I wish I could have one. And then you go and get one and realize, well, gee, not really the kind of animal I want to have inside the house. This thing is not a freaking dog. And when you own one, unfortunately, you'll find out real fast why dogs are domesticated, and you will see the stark difference between that of a domesticated dog and a wild dog. With a wolf dog, you will get a great, monstrously beautiful animal, especially if it's a higher content. However, you're gonna get a huge dose of that wild as well. Thought I would add some backstory as to why people shun Balto or are very cautious around him. Something being part dog and part something that can easily kill you and other dogs, not being afraid of humans, is something to worry about. But Balto's been in the town long enough for people to get to know him. They don't tremble at his presence, but they don't necessarily want their kids playing too close to him either. Kids like our other main character, Rosie, who is best friends with her Siberian husky, Jenna.
Love this sled! Jenna, you're lead dog! Okay, just a minute. Come on, mush!
Rosie's given a new sled and a musher's hat, as mushing or sled dogging is part of their tradition where they are.
Now, mush!
Jenna and Rosie go toward the race to see the other dogs come in. There's an Afghan borzoi-looking dog, maybe a mix of all of them, and something that looks like a bad rendition of a Pomeranian, walking alongside Jenna, going on and on about Steel. 'Cause why wouldn't they? Steel is the hunk of the town.
Do you think, Steel will notice?
I'm afraid the only way Steel notices anyone is if they're wearing a mirror.
So then Steel and his team make it back to the town. And for the life of me, I cannot understand why this freaking dog, who looks like a disheveled, starving Alaska husky, is even on this team. He's always being dragged by Steel. When Balto comes out to see the race, he sees Jenna. Whether this is for the first time he sees her or not, he most certainly has the hots for her. Understandably, our boy Balto is smitten by Jenna. But it's okay, he has an opportunity to impress her when Rosie's hat flies away and lands in the middle of the home stretch. I don't know why they're all gasping and acting like this is a horrible situation. The most that's gonna happen to is it's gonna get dirty. And okay, maybe it's gonna get run over. Balto uses that as an opportunity to jump into the race. He's able to go head to head with Steele starting from the back and saves Rosie's hat. We have these three characters. I think they're all Malamutes, and they're always so abusive to this one right here. I have no idea why. The whole movie could have been cut without those characters, and it really would not have made a difference. Okay, maybe a little bit of a difference because they become important later on somewhat, but the whole expose with them constantly filling in with this comedic portion was just weird.
Congratulations there, boss there. It was a pleasure running behind yous. Of course, the view got monotonous.
You were the most amazing, the most exalted, the most preeminent, the most top drawer.
You what?
Nothing like waking up to bullying in the morning, but he was the runt. Steele gets upset because the guy who takes a picture is saying that Steele is losing his edge. When his owner agrees, Steele is very visibly upset about that. Look at this dude just chilling in the background. Balto returns the hat to Rosie, and Rosie calls him out, saying, "You wanted to just show off for a pretty girl, didn't you?" Like, the sparks between them is so cute. Jenna is like, well, I mean, he's a part wolf, he's got big feet, that means he's got big dog dick. I don't think that's what she actually said, but whatever.
I'm sure Jenna would love to have you on her team.
Hey, Rosie, stay away from him.
Dad!
He might bite you, honey. He's part wolf.
Well, now you've hurt his feelings.
And facts don't care about your feelings.
Ladies.
Don't know why this bitch is constantly in heat all the time. Balto has to watch Steele hit on the woman that he likes while he is shunned. Steele is like, "Hey, you want to come chase stuff with me later on?" And she's like, "Oh, my girl's calling me, Steele, I gotta go." And the horny Pomeranian looking dog is like, in the most forward way ever,
On the other hand, my girl is away at boarding school.
Jesus Christ. The freaking thirst. It is based a lot on reality though, because these poor little dogs don't understand in the slightest that if he were to mount you and you have his puppies, the puppies would kill you. They would be way too big for your body. Kind of reminds me of my Pomeranian. Bless her soul. I miss you so much, baby. But she would literally piss herself around intact males that were way larger than her and act like the sweetest, shyest little dog ever. Sticking her ass up to the fence and stuff. I'm like, honey, first of all, his member is the size of your freaking body. You do not want that kind of trouble. Anyway, moving forward in the story, Boris tries to cheer up Balto, and then he hears Jenna's name being called, and then...
It's sexy time, let's go!
Then Jenna's people call her, and he gives her the slip. She looks for him, but he's gone. Steele and his friends catch up to him and start to bully him, because that's just the new pastime.
My name's Balto.
I'm sorry, Balto. Balto the half-breed.
I could say that what they're doing is so awful, but this is actually natural behavior for dogs. They pull the age-old insult, which you should never do, and that's talk about a man's mother.
Balto, I've got a message for your mother.
How would you like to die today, motherfucker? No.
After getting bullied by the Three Stooges and their boss, Balto sadly retreats to his home, knowing that he doesn't have a place in the wolf world or the dog world. Balto and Boris are then visited by two polar bears that can't swim called Muck and Luck.
Muck, Luck, relax. Hey, come on, you're okay. You're not drowning.
Balto pines after the pretty red bitch, claiming she's out of his league, insinuating that because he's part wolf, somehow he's not good enough for her, which doesn't make sense, because technically, wolves are the better animal than dogs. But anyway, Boris the Goose says, "What's wrong with being half and half?" I agree. Best of both worlds, right? Jenna waits outside the hospital window for her little girl, Rosie.
Jenna!
But she and the whole town of kids have the Alaskan corona. Don't know why just the kids have it. I would say that's a mighty loud sign, but that's just me. Balto shoots his shot, but it's like the wrong time. Jenna's like, my girl is dying, but thanks for the invitation to date me right now. Balto leads her into a secret area where they can listen to the doctor and find out what's wrong with her little girl. And they do find out because those dogs can speak English, you know. She notices that he's got big feet, and you know what that means, tee-hee. He shows her a place that he claims dogs travel for years to find. Really, dogs travel for years to come under a crawl space so they can shift some broken bottles and sea lights? Not like you can't recreate that anywhere else, right? Unless you're talking about the actual northern lights. Are there hordes of dogs setting off on journeys to the north where they're biting winters and treacherous wilderness just so they can see lights for a few minutes? And then what do after they cut their paws on the glass? Almost lose what's left of their toes due to frostbite so they can trek back? What an odd vacation. And this is the scene that the creators would use to tease the audience into thinking we were going to witness dogs French kissing.
Beautiful.
In my stories, they actually do. Jenna is upset when she hears that Rosie has a fatal illness and they're out of medicine to treat it. Before Balto can be the shoulder she needs to cry on, Steele, the narcissist Lion King scar incarnation, cock blocks them and tries to seduce Jenna with his sausages. She doesn't like it raw though, wink wink, and she lets Steele know as much.
These days I prefer my meat cooked.
Steele's buns are now well done, but he's like, no, I'll take both of you then. This is why you never pause. Wow, okay. I didn't mean take, well, anyway, I'll take both of you then, since you're gonna be that way. I'm much more surprised that Steele is able to freaking go through a door, a solid wooden door like this, like he's a freaking juggernaut. And not to mention a door that closes completely by itself for no reason. The humans come out after hearing the commotion, and Steele frames Balto as the one who stole the meat. And seriously, this interaction makes absolutely no sense.
Good thing Steele was here. Good boy, Steele. You've earned these. Besides, I can't do anything with them after that wild animal's touched them.
Go on, get out of here, you thief!
So wait, if Steele had been the one chewing on them or touching them, you would have eaten it anyway or put it back in your store to sell to the people? That's goddamn nasty. No wonder all your kids are dying. Balto runs off completely pride shattered. The village quarantines the hospital with all their sick kids coughing up their hopes and dreams. The telegraph office dude sends out Morse or some telegraphic code to send for more diphtheria antitoxin to treat the children not long for this world, including Rosie, Jenna's human. No matter how hard they tried to ship the antitoxin, nature seems hell-bent on letting itself take its course.
We'll try by air.
I've watched this movie so many times, but this is the first time I've cracked up when the guy said this. I know he's supposed to be the voice representing the telegraphic code, but it still sounds hilarious. It sounds like he's on the phone with someone while someone else is doing something pleasurable to him and he's trying to keep his composure. So the only way they can send the medicine is by train, and then the fastest sled dog team has to travel about 400 miles to get it to come back to bring to the town. The town puts together the fastest sled dog team comprised of the fastest dogs. Steele is already chosen, and to see which ones are the fastest, they host a race. Me personally, I would choose a dog I know has the most endurance. You can have something that runs very fast, but if it can't last in blizzard conditions, it doesn't really matter. Now does it? But oh well. Dixie is fawning over Steele, saying that he's gonna be a hero and he's gonna save the entire town.
He's positively magnesium.
Funny how Jenna says it's a one-dog show, but later on she's cheering for one dog. Anyway, the other dog that looks like a pickaxe comes out from nowhere after the small dog that looks like cotton candy asks Jenna why she doesn't seem to like Steele and accuses Jenna of running around with Balto last night. And they was seen going in together and they was seen leaving together. When old Needle Nose tells her not to deny it, Jenna says, okay, I won't, because she obviously likes Balto and they're shocked for some reason. Balto decides to run the race so that he can help Rosie. Let's be honest, he's doing it to clap Jenna's fluffy cheeks. That is his #1 motivation, because if Jenna was a stray like him, first of all, he probably wouldn't even like her, but there also would have been no reason for him to even look into the hospital and care about those humans that treat him so badly anyway. Oh, their offspring's dying, thank God, less of them to torture me. But despite those dogs trying to cheat and knock him out of the race, he still beats them, and Jenna is impressed, while Steele is not.
Okay, Nikki, Caltech, Star moving. We're strapping up.
I love how Steele just completely ignores him because it's all about glory, and let's face it, Balto has a little bit of that glory too, but he has more of a motivation because people treat him like absolute trash.
Hey now, just a second here, Steele. I was the fastest dog.
You were the fastest. What?
I'm a savage.
After Steele tries to tear down Balto by saying that no musher would be in his right mind to put you on his team, Jenna cuts in and tells him to stop being a glory hound because what matters is the medicine, right? The dying children, remember? Then Steele is like, oh yeah, them. They come over to pet Steele and then to pet Balto. Again, another unrealistic reaction.
Now, let's take a look at our winner here. Let's take a look at our winner. We can't trust this one.
Really, Balto? Really? You did that to yourself. I remember watching this for the first time and I was so pissed off at him. Yes, your foot hurts. But usually when dogs are in pain, they yelp and bite towards the direction that the pain is coming from. Crying out in pain, they would have realized, oh crap, something happened to him.
We can't trust this one. He's part wolf.
See those teeth?
He might turn on me.
Or he's scared of us. But no, he's part wolf. Balto, why did you freaking growl like that? When someone steps on your foot, do you guys not go, ow, or whimper? No one whose foot's been stepped on, I've heard them go, and just stand in one spot. It's so unrealistic, and I know I'm saying that because this is a cartoon and it's not supposed to be realistic, but goddamn, it's like Balto is trying to self-sabotage here.
Can't trust this one. He's part wolf.
See those teeth?
He might turn on me.
And then the other thing that doesn't make sense, you can't trust this one. He might turn on me, you fucking idiots. You have a whole bunch of other dogs that are loyal to you who will rip this one apart if he tries anything. What's important is that he gets the medicine quickly. And they're acting like they just met Balto. He is the village stray, everyone knows him. They even gave him a name. So in some instances, people are acting like, oh, that's Balto. We let him in the village and let him close to us and don't chase him from the village when we do see him. But then they act in completely different scenes like, oh, that monster is gonna turn on us. What the fuck? That's not how things work. If he wanted to turn on you, he would have done so already. Instead of treating him like any other dog, in this specific case where it's more important that you have fast dogs to get you the medicine, you're like, damn, doesn't matter that we have the fastest dog here who is also part wolf that can survive the conditions and get us there faster, but because he growled at us a little bit, and this is like the only instance he's ever done that, well, let's throw it away and take the slower dogs. Dumbass people, I swear to God. Once again, Jenna chases after Balto, but he's like, no, I might turn on you too, Jenna. And he's all heartbroken while the team quickly leaves for Nanana from Nome. Unfortunately, Steel and the team of dogs gets lost.
I am not lost!
This is the part I don't understand also. When you watch this for the first time, you're like, okay, that's weird, but they're dogs. I like dogs. Then a few years later, you start to ask questions like, why are they all blaming Steel for getting them lost? Because last time I checked, there's a human back there that's supposed to be directing the dogs as to where to go. Did they train the dogs how to get to Nanana by themselves without the humans inputting anything? Is the musher back there not giving orders to his canine? So when Steel starts going crazy and panicking, saying, I'm not lost, I know where I'm going, the musher has no control whatsoever over his dogs, so he's just like, well, Steel knows the way. And even if the dogs were trained to go to Nanana from Nome, wouldn't the mushers have to also be trained to know where they're going? I just don't understand. Regardless of whether or not you like Steel, or with him being the villain, you gotta admit it's a tad bit unfair that they're casting all the blame on him for getting them lost, when he is the dog and the owner is back there telling them where to go. But we've already seen that the owners and the humans in this movie are pretty freaking stupid. So sorry, I do not feel for the owner when he starts crashing against the rocks after they slide on some ice and he falls unconscious for the rest of the entire movie. Balto sees one of the townspeople building children coffins. This is like the darkest part of the movie. And I like that they add that. And then he's like, I gotta save them. So him and Boris and the polar bears Muck and Luck go on their adventure to track down the dog sled team. Unfortunately for Balto and his friends, a big grizzly attacks them, which is very odd because I know these are supposed to be polar bears. It's either their babies or they have a severe case of dwarfism, because polar bears are supposed to be the largest type of bears. But yet this bear is the size of a freaking triceratops. That is the funniest scene of the whole movie for me. First of all, why are you charging up behind something and then yelling at the top of your lungs? If you were trying to surprise it or save your friends, try not to make your presence known. He's a street dog. He's supposed to have street smarts, and it seems like he almost has none. And it was also hilarious because of the way he looked when he was turning into the air, just to get swatted in the freaking throat. After Balto is beaten into the dirt and the bear, who apparently forgot that he has teeth, just keeps stepping on him, Jenna comes in to save the day. I don't know if they meant for it to be, but this whole fight scene was completely hilarious to me. Especially When Jenna and Balto are just thrown around like dogs. It's just the whole setup. I don't know what it is. It just looks freaking ridiculous. I can't take it seriously. This was the Revenant before there was a Revenant, but like a much PG version of it. Anyway, Balto's on the ice and the bear goes in the ice, and then apparently the bear can't swim, which is weird because grizzlies are very good swimmers. Are all bears in Alaska lacking the ability to swim? I don't even understand. The ice turns over and Balto almost drowns, but the polar bears who couldn't swim, they jump in and save him, which is weird because those soft, tiny versions of bears burst through the ice when they save Balto, but that big monstrous bear who seemingly is a grizzly who can swim and is much larger than they are doesn't have the same ability, but whatever. They also are smart enough to know how to resuscitate them, so clearly they've been hanging around other polar bears. Not that I think polar bears would be resuscitating each other, but whatever. Jenna wants to come with them and she's like, oh no, my paw. Balto tells Boris and the others to help walk her back home. After all, they are all slowing him down. She gives him her bandana knowing it won't keep him warm, but basically that's like her favor and her version of saying, I want you to smell me when you're lonely at night. Balto quickly finds the team and Steel is not doing so good.
So, how did you find us?
Is anyone hurt?
Everyone is fine.
Neither is their owner, who's been lying on the ground being covered in snow for God knows how long. Steel will not let Balto touch the medicine.
Well, maybe we should listen to him.
He wants to lead them back home, but Steel won't let him, so he's like, dude, let me just take back the medicine, the kids are dying or whatnot. So Steel's like, I don't give a flying, flipping, frying fuck. I'm not letting you take back the medicine and be the hero.
Then let me take back the medicine. They're getting sicker.
Whoa! Touch that box, and I'll tear you apart.
Balto was like, since when do you need a pedigree to help someone? But Steel is not having it. And honestly, he does come off very scary when he's angry.
I'm not leaving without that medicine.
Who do you think you are?
Balto doesn't want to fight Steel, and I'm pretty sure if he did fight Steel, he probably would beat his ass. But Steel manages to pull off his bandana trying to take him over the cliff and not understanding how physics works. The bandana comes off and Steel falls down much in the same way Scar did, but he's alive and gets up instantly the way Scar did, and Balto leads the team. Also, did the team of dogs not know to put their human inside of the sled, or is Balto the only one with the intelligence to be able to do that? How did they even manage? Doesn't matter. I don't know how Steel was able to get in front of them, having been so far down the cliff, and they were ahead of him leaving, but yet he manages to get in front of them and mark every tree in front of Balto in the time that he does, so that when Balto and the others are just getting there, they're completely confused as to where to go. How did he teleport in front of them? Plus, it takes time to scratch all those trees. So tell me, how, when Balto and the sled dog team are far ahead of Steel when he's just making it up the cliff, he somehow is able to do all of this in mere seconds before Balto and the team arrive? That part made no freaking sense. As heartwarming as this animated movie is, it was pretty stupid and poorly written in some parts. Balto gets lost as well, and everyone's like, you don't know where you're going, and he's like, yes, I do. I'm not lost, just like Steel was. And he panics and runs blindly until he reaches the edge of the cliff and almost kills the whole sled team and ruins the medicine. Also, the dogs did not strap the human in, so understandably, he is flying over everywhere, almost dying. But then where is he in the next shot? Where is he in this shot? Is he strapped down now? Because, what? Where did the man go? Even when I watched it in my preteen years, I knew well enough that that didn't make any sense. The guy either fell over the cliff or something and they didn't notice, or he magically got strapped back in the sled and covered up immediately after he had come out of the blanket and was airborne. He catches the medicine in the nick of time and everyone's like, good catch, Balto, and then he falls over the cliff anyway. During this time, Steel makes it back to the town. Somehow the owners don't see him, and I guess he doesn't want them to because then he's gonna look like a failure, and he starts telling them a story about what happened. But we all know it's a lie. He claims that Balto came and basically kind of attacked them, telling Steel to let him take the medicine because he wanted to be a hero in Jenna's eyes, which is exactly what Steel wanted to do. Then he fell over the cliff with the medicine because it was too much. Don't know if he's just making that up because he's the one who fell over the cliff, or he saw Balto later fall over the cliff. But he was already ahead of them because he teleported, remember? Jenna sees straight through his bullshit anyway. And Steel is like to the others, she just needs time, she's in denial. She'll come back. Balto is alive, of course. Comes out of the pile of snow that probably broke his fall, and he feels discouraged, knowing that Rosie is depending on him. Then, the most majestic scene in the entire movie happens, as a white wolf, who many believe to be his mother, shows up. Boris had told Balto before he left on his trip that a dog could not make this journey alone, but maybe a wolf can. Since Balto is half wolf and is kind of ashamed of his heritage because everyone makes him feel like that, to make this journey and to have the strength, he has to tap in to the side of his family that has the wolf side. The side that can survive in these conditions quite easily. The side that has more endurance and strength than any domestic dog. So Balto realizes that he is more wolf than dog, and as Boris says, a dog cannot make this journey alone, but a wolf can. This is the first time we see Balto truly embrace who he is. Gives me chills every time, especially when you see how much bigger the wolf is than Balto. If that is his mother, it makes a lot of sense. I guess people would wonder, what is she doing there? What if his mother wanted to give him a better life? The pack wouldn't accept him because he's part dog, and she knew the most normal way, or the most normal life he would live, is if he was domesticated and taken care of. So she left him in the town. But as a mother, she probably was always watching him from the sidelines, even when he made this journey. The rest of the adventure involves Balto leading the team in such quick succession, it's like nature itself is trying to kill them and prevent them from bringing back the medicine. I swear to God, they only get like a few minutes of breathing room before there's an avalanche, and then freaking stalactites or stalagmite, whatever those things are, the icicle things at the top of the ceiling, try to impale them, and God knows what else off screen. Because ideally it would have been hella awkward if a bunch of wolves that do feed on dogs in those areas were to come upon the team. And honestly, I personally would have written that in, since Balto has now embraced his wolf side. I would have written that in, and then them see Balto, and the other dogs are terrified and they want to eat them, and then Balto says something to them and they leave him alone because Balto was partly one of them, which really wouldn't have made a difference in the real world, because if you're of an enemy pack, there have been documentations of wolves killing lone wolves, but it would have been more heartwarming, and I think people would have had more of a respect for Balto, because he's like, wow, he talked to those wolves, he showed them, but it seems that they didn't really want to villainize wolves in this movie, and I completely understand. Anyway, Steel is still telling them this tall Faw's tale, and he's completely interrupted when one of the dogs is like, it's Balto with the medicine, after they hear a wolf howl.
Jenna.
Like I said, physics don't exist in this movie. Jenna is happy, and she's definitely giving some to Balto. Rosie is so thankful.
I'd be lost without you.
My eyes are stinging. There is cheering and happiness everywhere, and none of the other dogs get any credit whatsoever for also helping to save the town. They're seriously treated like NPC characters. It's sad. And honestly, this entire movie, even though it does have its nonsensicalness, it really reminded me of the time when I fell in love with wolves. My parents, my best friend's mom, they really exposed us to so many classics, and in a way, I grew up with these. It also furthered my love for animals and made me draw dogs and wolves a whole bunch, until I fell in love with Spirit and I was just drawing horses. But yeah, pretending to live as a wolf was my life for quite a while after seeing this movie. At the end, we're back in the real world, and it is revealed that the grandmother telling this tall tale story about Balto is actually Rosie, Jenna's girl, who is now old and has her own granddaughter.
Thank you, Balto. I would have been lost without you.
Such a heartwarming story. They should make more animated dog tales. Like All Dogs Go to Heaven, Oliver and Company. Like, to get this fix, I actually have to go on YouTube and see 30-second animations from other people who can actually rival these animation departments. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.